Welcome back to Serving Up Success with a Splash, where life, career, and business meets a little barroom banter. I'm Bruce Cramer, aka the Corporate Cockroach, and boy, do we have a show for you tonight. We are now heading into the final stretch of the year, the last quarter, and we're here to talk about how do we close the year out with clarity, focus, and fire. Because you know what? The way you finish the year determines how you're going to start next year. So being proactive, we're going to kick it in. And let me introduce my co-hosts.
Angie Snowball, the Renaissance woman. Go ahead, Nawtej.
Hi, Angie. Hi, Bruce.
Not as energetic as Bruce tonight. He's like, "Wah!" I'm like, "Hey, I'm here."
Oh, this is a hell of a drink tonight.
He's got all the energy. He's taken all the drugs for all three of us tonight.
It's like, thank God he's here.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Not anymore. That was back in the
Not any less.
Nice to see you both. I'm Nawtej Dosanjh. I'm the strategy doctor. I'm particularly looking forward to this week's show because I'm looking forward to learning a lot from you guys, because I'm not sure I've been in that sort of situation where the pressure's on in the final quarter. So I'm really looking forward to asking a lot of searching questions and learning a lot. So really, really looking forward to the show. Before we start, though, we have a splash. We always have a cocktail. This week's cocktail, it's late here in the UK, so I've got an early start, so I'm not going to have a drink, but I'm going to enjoy watching the guys drink. And here is the cocktail. It's called a B52, and it's coffee liqueur, and I think it's called Kahlua.
Mm-hmm.
Half an ounce of Kahlua. I've never heard of that before, but
it's fantastic in coffee. Why do you even drink coffee if you don't put Kahlua in it?
Okay, from tomorrow, I'm looking for Kahlua in my coffee. And then half an ounce of Baileys. Oh, don't you just love Baileys? I drink it on its own, but sure, I'll mix it with this other stuff. And then half an ounce of Grand Marnier. And use a shot glass. Slowly, you want to try and get it layered, apparently. So slowly pour in the Kahlua first,
which is really
then
hard.
a gentle layer of look at that. It's like an ice cream. It's like a tiramisu in a glass. And then the Baileys, then the Grand Marnier. And obviously, not that anybody's told me this, the cocktail is formulated because each of the drinks, each of the ingredients has a different viscosity and a different texture, and that's why the layering occurs. It looks fantastic, and I've got to say, I'm going to try it tomorrow because I love Baileys and I love Grand Marnier. But I think I'm going to love Kahlua because I love coffee. So there it is. We've got a packed show, and I've got so many questions for you guys. So Bruce, straight back at you. Let's get rolling.
Hey, wait, real quick.
Interesting.
Are we supposed to shoot this? Is that, or is it like drink it?
I can't. I put mine in a mug.
I mean, there's no way I can shoot this.
In a tub.
I almost don't want to drink it. It's so cute.
It's a liqueur,
Well,
so I don't think.
So Angie, hold it up before you shoot it. It's layered. It's a metaphor for the first layer is life, the second is career, and the top is business.
Oh my gosh. I am having a lot of happy accidents today. You would think I'm brilliant. I mean, don't make that mistake, but you would think.
Shoot it.
Okay. I'm not going to shoot it. I won't be slow.
Okay, Bruce, enough of the drink. Enough of the focus on the drink. Get on with it.
Okay. So as I said, we're into the last quarter of the year. And, for businesses, this is awesome. And in a business, when you're in that last quarter and you're looking for you as another business to try to close out strong, you call your clients and find out, does anybody got any money left in their budgets? Because they'll try to spend it because, typical of corporate, that determines next year's budget. So you better spend it or lose it. So if you're out there, look for those clients that got money and take them. But this also applies to life. There is so much you can do. We're coming into the holiday season here in the US, and it's a fun time. So you can also think in terms of how do I finish strong in my life? And of course, as well within your career. So I wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, this is the
And like I
time
said,
you like look at that New Year's resolution that you made back in January and you knew it was gone in February, but now you're like, oh God, do I have time to do that? No, I think I screwed that up.
but
This is the
but you
time.
want to but you want to use this time to build momentum. Because what I find when you do end the year strong, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your business, your career, it just feels really good and it propels you into the next year, as I said earlier. So think of your last quarter here, the final lap, as a sprint. This is where it's like fourth and goal for those that are into football. And I'm a huge Packer fan, and of course, they're playing right after the show. But think of this as your sprint. The next thing is lots of energy and urgency. This is the time to push the pedal to the metal. But here's how you do that you ask yourself, what would make me proud if I completed it this year? If I completed this goal task this year, God, I would feel great. So, Angie, what's your one thing?
Well, I think it starts with the resolution, right? Because that's when you start out. That's what would have made you proud. That's why you made it, right? Um, but I don't know. Everything changes during the year, right? Sometimes there's more than one reason you didn't do it. Maybe it's because your resolution changed. What would make you proud changed. At the beginning of this year, I didn't know I'd be on a podcast. I had no idea I'd have a podcast. Now, going out at the end of the year, one of the things that is making me proud, by the way, guys, thank you so much. We get 500 downloads a week now. Well, I mean, we
Unbelievable.
didn't believe it. I was like, I think they messed that up.
Thank
I
you.
think there's some
Thank you.
wrong
Thank you.
zero.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
it's amazing. So, like, that couldn't have been my goal to say, man, we're going to finish strong. We're going to start monetizing our podcast at the beginning of the year because I didn't have a podcast at the beginning of the year. So I think it's okay when your resolutions change. And like Bruce says, it's time to sprint. It's time to drop your baggage and be like, it's all right. I didn't do that one. I'm going to do something else. So I think for me, one of the big ones is this podcast. We're doing a lot of cool stuff together, things you guys don't see yet. Like we're putting merch together so you can have some cool like coasters and hoodies and shirts and just a lot of new stuff happening with the podcast. That's exciting. A lot of new people we're talking about bringing on. And then also, I think personally, I've been working on I have some LinkedIn courses that I just updated, and I've seen so many people that are not using this. And it's kind of embarrassing. Like some CEOs have very empty profiles. Like I go to check out a company, I'm like, this guy doesn't do anything. And you just don't know who he is. Why would it work for him? So one of my personal goals is to really put some effort into getting that course out there. Because a lot of people ask me to do it in person, and that's great. And I love it. But there's so much more opportunity for me to get it out to more people if I start pushing the online, which I don't do. It's all me. So that's my big one for the end of the year, start letting people know you don't have to do it in person. It's all online, and it's me. I mean, I still swear and say bad words and tell you I mess things up. So you get the same experience. It's just get to do it on your own time. So that's mine. Nawtej, what's yours?
Well, as I said at the beginning of the show, it's hard for me to think this way in terms of the last quarter, because I've never been in an environment where the last quarter is, anything different to any other quarter. There's nothing to particularly sort of focus on. So I'm interested why this is a big thing, and I'm going to ask you guys that in a minute. Why is the fourth quarter a big thing? But to answer your question in a roundabout way, so people say, oh, I don't make New Year's resolutions, or I don't bother with it. I always make New Year's resolutions, and I always monitor them throughout the year. And I always I'm always focused on them. At any one point, I always know where I am against my resolutions and how I'm going to achieve them. So I think I have a long-term plan, always a personal long-term plan, a life long-term and a business long-term plan. But I'm really intrigued to know to understand what sectors, why is this fourth quarter thing a big thing? I have heard it before in sales companies. What's the big thing about this fourth quarter? And and maybe I need to get big about the fourth quarter. Can I understand it? Why is the fourth
No,
quarter
I
pushing
think
strong such a big thing?
it's because you're so strategic and you're much more organized. You're on track all year
Is that
long.
it?
People like me are like, oh shit, it's the fourth quarter. I should have done something by now. And then I got to get back on track and figure out what I was doing, right? Like you were saying, I read a really cool book this year. It was called One Word. I can't remember who wrote it. It was from Nick Marinello, told me about it. Love Nick if he ever listens. And instead of doing a resolution, to pick one word for the year, and everything you do is then powered by that word. So this year I did much better than before, because the answer to your question for me, Nawtej, is why is the fourth quarter a big deal? It's because I forgot what my resolution was. I don't even know what I was trying to do. In February I got busy. March there were squirrels and sparkles and I don't know what happened. And then fourth quarter I'm like, oh my gosh, it's time. What did I do this year? And I find I didn't do it because I'm not strategic and organized as you. But this one word thing has helped me a lot, because my
What was your
word
word?
this
Can
year,
you share that?
yeah,
Can you
my
share
word
that?
this year was believe. Because I feel like I
Good
struggled
word.
a lot with believing in myself and some of my decisions. Both, like I have like a complicated family thing, and it was hard to like stay on track with you're doing the right thing. And then work wise, I always feel like, even like I just said, like we got 500 downloads a week. It's still me like, are you curious? Do we make a mistake? And then immediately I thought, no, believe. When Bruce showed me that, I was like, no, we did this, believe. So all year long, that has helped me, versus like that one resolution of, okay, I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to do this, because February will come and go. I don't even remember what the hell it was. But this year, picking that word, I was much more strategic. And going into the fourth quarter, I actually kind of know what the hell I'm doing. And that doesn't usually happen. Like my poor business coach is like, okay, Angie, what are we doing? I'm like, I don't know. Do you have ideas? Like this poor guy's like, oh crap. And this year I have answers. Like it really helped me focus. But to me, Nawtej, that's a very long-winded answer to why is Q4 a big thing. I think it's a big
Yeah.
thing when you get off track and you have adjustments, and you're like, okay, how am I going to do this?
Can I
What
ask?
worked, what didn't, to plan next year.
Sorry, Angie. I wanted to get Bruce as well, because Bruce has been
Mm-hmm.
in corporate America and he is the corporate cockroach.
Yeah.
Bruce, why was the fourth quarter so important in your corporate career? I'm dying to understand it.
Well, it served two purposes. One, it forces you to reflect. Where are we at? Now, you should be doing that no less than monthly, if not weekly. But it does, you get towards that end of the year and you are starting to think already of next year. So it's that
Mm,
chance to reflect. But what it's really all about is, do you control your own destination? Do you create your destination? And the answer is 80% we control in our lives. And as a business, you control 80% of your fate. Yes, there are market things that occur to businesses and industries and the economy, but at the end of the day, we're fooling ourselves if we think we didn't have the ability to control. So when you get
yeah.
into that fourth quarter, you want to say, are we going to hit it? Are we going to make it? Or can we kill it? Can we exceed? It's about, do you control your destination, and are you built to win or are you built to lose?
Bruce, I'm inspired. That was inspirational. If I was in your company in the fourth quarter, I'd be inspired.
Yeah, I would too.
You've done this a few times, haven't you?
I
Oh
know there was a
God, yeah.
mic drop situation there, which was good because Jesse's going to make us go to break. So we'll
Okay,
pick
Break.
this
Jesse,
up when
I'm
take
we
just
us.
getting
return.
warmed up, guys. Why do we have to get a break all the time? Okay, good. Let's get a break.
Oh, you guys really got moves always, but Bruce is like really giving you a run for the money, Nawtej. He's really
He,
getting
he,
into it
he
lately.
is. He is. I'm going to take dance lessons, so I'll be.
Oh, that's funny. All
I
right,
hear
guys.
comments from everybody how well he dances. So now I told you I'm competitive.
Oh, that's what it is. You are
Yeah,
like,
that's
for
what
being
it
the
is.
nicest guy
Okay.
in the world, you do have this like competitive streak that I did not expect. And it is like severe. Like he's not kidding. That's why he's like, finish out Q4 strong. Hell yeah, I'm gonna win. You're gonna lose. No, I think it's about
Oh,
anybody
everybody
losing.
can win.
I was gonna say
Everybody
it's
can
just not
win.
everybody losing. It's about everybody winning. But yeah, welcome back to the show. And we were getting into Q4. Nawtej took us through like, why does this matter to you guys? Because he's Mr. Strategy and he's all organized and he's always on track. There's people like me that don't know what the hell's going on. So it's time for me to get back on track so that I can plan next year. And there's Bruce who's used to running these like giant teams. It's like, I got to get everybody on track and we got to beat everything. We got to be better than we thought we were going to be. So I think everybody has their own reasons why it's time to take a look and reflect. And like Bruce said, some people do it, we should be doing it monthly. Some people do it quarterly. Some people don't do it until something goes wrong or something major changes. But we should always look and reflect. And the end of the year is it's a good time to do it. It's fall, everything's changing. We're getting ready for next year. It's a good time. And one of the things that we kind of opened with it, so I'm going to ask these guys kind of a different question. We said, what's your biggest goal? But in order to really go forward and finish strong, speaking of the sprint, I love that Bruce started with that, a sprint. You got to drop your baggage. You don't want to run a sprint with another guy on your back, right? Or a backpack and all this baggage. You're not going to win. So one of the things for me when we get to Q4 is to say, okay, because I can honestly say nothing in my whole life has ever gone to plan for an entire year, and that's okay with me. I'm used to chaos. It works. It's how my brain works. I'm good with it. But it does mean I need to reevaluate and I need to say, okay, what's working, what's not working, what do I have to get rid of in order to win? In order to do the things I want to do, I got to get rid of my shoulds. What are my musts? What are my shoulds? Line them up, get them out of there, and start dropping that baggage. So, first question for you guys is, if you have any baggage, probably not because you're both amazing, but if you have any stuff that's holding you back from really getting Q4, what's holding you back? And then, second question is, how are you going to drop that baggage? Because it's not always easy, even though you know what it is, to just say, okay, I'm not doing it. If it was easy, we wouldn't be doing it anyway, right? So, what's your baggage holding you back from winning that sprint? And what are you going to do about it?
Can I go first on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Bruce is like, thank God.
Well, the reason I wanted to go first is because I had a thought and I thought, let me get it out there before I forget it. And then I have to come up with a, less good answer. So I thought that, and this has been coming to me recently. It's been crystallizing in my mind recently that I think with the world becoming more complicated. We've talked about AI 2 or 3 times in our shows, and it's made the world complicated on the one hand, even though it's simplified the world in other ways. So the reason I say that is that I've had to really reevaluate that. Oh, you might be carrying baggage, but you might not know what it is. So I've been really thinking through what baggage am I do I have, but I don't know, and I don't know it's baggage. And I think the reason I thought this is because I don't know, a few months ago, I don't know exactly when, I had a situation where I was talking to somebody, and the thought occurred to me, oh my God, I thought I had no baggage. I thought I was, to coin Angie's phrase, I thought I was really strategic, but this is baggage, and I'd been carrying it and I didn't question it. So what I've been doing recently to understand the baggage that I'm carrying is I've been going back to first principles and making sure that I go and get feedback all the time from very trusted people.
That's so important.
Trusting other people's judgment. Like just this week with you guys. Remember, Bruce, this week, we were talking about
this week.
and I said, well, I don't know anything about brand, so whatever Angie says, that's my vote. So long-winded answer. This is a really important topic because we have more baggage than we used to have, and we don't realize what it is. Did that make sense, or was I rambling?
No, it was perfect.
No,
and I think at the end of the day, what we're all saying is, again, and so many of our episodes come back to this, you have to have a trusted accountability partner that can help you through all of this stuff. Someone you can really lay everything out and say, I don't, what am I missing? Because I don't care how good you are, it is impossible to see some things from the inside. Sometimes you have to be outside looking in to see everything. You need all the perspectives. You need the inside, you need the outside, you need the aerial vision. We need it all to get a full picture. So I think that's brilliant. Just a reminder that, and it doesn't have, I mean, paid coaches are amazing. Groups are amazing. I honestly sometimes think group coaching is more powerful than one-on-one coaching. Because they ask questions that you don't think to ask, that you don't know, and someone else will ask you like, oh yeah, I don't, yeah, how do we do that? I didn't even know to ask that one. So I think those mastermind programs you guys do are brilliant. I mean, that'd be a brilliant thing to join one of those. Anyway, I think it's great. Bruce, your turn. You have plenty of time.
So, holy cow. So where do I begin? It's a good thing Noelle's not on this show, my better half, because she would, yeah, I'm carrying a truckload of baggage. But no, I would start some simple things. So, in an earlier episode, I had talked about how I'm not on Facebook. And part of it was I became obsessed just scrolling because you get your information in tidbits. Well, what crept into my life, which has become baggage, is we got into this podcast gig. Well, of course, I'm curious. So I wanted to go out and sample all the various podcasts that are out there, and I mean everything. Well, guess what happened? I like the fact that I get information in 20-minute tidbits or so my morning, I like to rise early, and what I found, I was filling my morning with my cup of coffee that went from 30 minutes up to 90 minutes. I started to consume all kinds of information via podcast because somebody that's a little ADD, and it crept into my time. And I thought, is this the best use of my time? Because I love to do research, I love to read, and I like to put a couple hours a day aside because I do like a good movie. But all of a sudden, podcasts were consuming 90 minutes of my morning. And so that's something that I'm actually tracking now.
Oh, that's a good
I
way
want to
to
get
figure
it
out if
back
it's
down to
baggage or
my cup
not.
of coffee for 30 minutes, just listen to something frivolous. Another piece of baggage is, as I'm getting older, health is very important to me to stay into shape, etc. A little bit of baggage. There's a reason we have a cocktail is and what I found is that typically I would have a couple cocktails at night. Well, as I've gotten older, it's a major drain on my energy. I can tell the difference between a no cocktail night or one cocktail. If I go to two cocktails, my energy is impacted, and I don't like that. So
Yeah.
that's I
You know,
stripped.
I
I just
love that
stripped
you
it out. Oh,
say that. Yeah, because when we started this, if we had more time, we still would, but it was always an intent to include a mocktail recipe as well. Because one,
yeah.
I mean, they're so comfortable. We will get better at that. But honestly, guys, we didn't know how cool this was going to be, and we were not prepared. We're
But
getting
but
better.
but the
But they
the
sell
reason I
great
use the
mocktails, and it does make
yeah.
a difference. Like to have that day that you don't, you just wind down. Because sometimes to me, it's not the cocktail itself, it's the concept of the cocktail that is my
Yeah.
wind down and
Uh,
my moment to talk.
So, yeah, and I use those as examples because you want to continue to reflect. Like we've talked many times on the show, in the morning, I journal and I reflect. And, it's different things for different people. I know people that can polish off a bottle of wine and it has absolutely no impact.
Oh, yeah.
What you got to do is look yourself in the mirror and really say, everybody has baggage. If somebody says they don't have baggage, that's BS.
Don't trust
And
them.
so, you really do want to make darn sure you're reflecting because you will find it. Little things like I just described. The other thing is perfectionism in me. And it's interesting, Angie. I got Nawtej kicking my butt on a couple of programs we're working on together, going, just get them out, Bruce. They don't have to be perfect. I also hired, as a coach, I have this conversation every week with all of my clients. But it's good to have somebody on the outside looking in saying, "Hey, Bruce, it's good enough, it's close enough for rock and roll. Just move forward." And so that has haunted me all my life. So that's a little bit about how I'm examining myself going into the fourth quarter. If I want that little extra push, stay off the TV, the podcast, stick to one drink a night. And I'm not suggesting that because that might be way too much for some folks. But
Yeah.
I've been around a
That's
long
way too
time.
much for me, by the way.
Yeah,
One
I
a
mean, keep
night.
yourself healthy, whatever that
First thing
means, right?
on a Friday
And
night.
then perfection is not to be at the expense of getting something done.
Right. So I think we'll get a few minutes to break. So I'll just wrap this little segment up for us. But what I heard both of them say is that it's a time in order that for you to look and recognize your baggage. And maybe you need to bring somebody else in to help you see it. But it's a time to sit down, and I challenge everybody to sit down. Also, pen and paper. You can call me old, that's fine, but there is so much research, and I'm sure Dr. Nawtej will back me up on this. Technology is great, but there's a lot of research to a pen and a paper through your hand. There's a lot of cognitive connection there. Take that pen and paper, write down for the rest of your years, write down your must, your shoulds, and your woulds. Get them organized and see what's holding you back from getting those things done in the priorities they need to be done. And make decisions like, okay, my shoulds aren't going to happen. These are things I would do if I had time. It's not going to happen. Maybe I'll do them next year. Maybe I'll do them something like that. But that's what I would challenge everybody to do, is to sit down, identify your baggage. And like Bruce said, if you show up and you're like, I don't have any baggage, you should talk to someone because you have baggage. Everybody has baggage. Nobody's perfect here. Go talk to somebody, find out what your baggage is, make your list, and decide so you can get super focused, so you can finish out Q4 really strong and plan for a good 2026, because you can't make a good plan if you show up with bad data, right? Can't make a good plan off of something that didn't work. So that's something that we have to do. All right. So we should be close to break time here. So I will wrap it up. And then when we come back, Dr. Nawtej is going to take us into the next segment of our episode. So Jesse, go ahead and take us to break.
Great segment, Angie. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I love asking you questions.
This alignment within your sales team or with the client stuff.
Thanks for mentioning the Packers. I just checked my fantasy team. I always forget to do it on Thursdays. So.
Welcome back, everybody. Sorry, my microphone or camera went dodgy for a second. It went dodgy again. Let me just fix it for a second.
Oh, he said dodgy. It's so cute.
So can you guys talk amongst yourselves before or while I figure out my camera?
Yes, we sure can. See, your fantasy football is a great example of things you need to readjust. Jalen Waddle just acting like an
I
idiot.
actually kind of like that view though, Nawtej. You got nice ceilings.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, thank you so much. So if that's
but it does look kind of cool.
Kind of you. So I don't know that I can sort out my camera in time, and it might affect my speakers. So let's just carry on and see what happens. I don't know
you
what
sound and you look great. You
Yeah.
sound and you look great.
Yeah,
so.
the microphone and the camera sync. But let's try this. Otherwise, you guys are gonna have to be me, and that's a scary. That's a.
Can
really
you say
scary.
dodgy again, just in case?
Yeah, that's a little bit dodgy, Angie.
I love it. It's so cute.
So before I start this segment, I just want to tell people about, and we'll come back to it at the end, about next week's show. A little bit different. Bruce Cramer and I, the Corporate Cockroach, and I are going to be looking over the past 20 weeks, our first 20 weeks of the show, and we're going to be looking at our favorite bits, not so favorite bits, the things we remember. We'll remind each other of some of our favorite bits. Angie won't be here, but she will be here in some form or fashion. We will be recording her favorite bits for the show. So I just wanted to say that because tune in for next week, just as a sort of look back at the last 20 weeks to see our favorite bits, your favorite bits. And if you've got any comments about them, please let us know. Or if you'd like us to cover any particular topics, please let us know in the chat. But back to this week. So recap, in terms of where I am in terms of thinking about the last quarter. It's a little bit new to me. Excuse me.
Bless you.
But I wanted this section to be about strategy. Why wouldn't I? Because, I'm Angie and Bruce call me the strategy doctor. So why wouldn't I make it about strategy? But the thing about strategy is that every smart CEO knows that strategy is small s. The best strategy is a big I, implementation. So how do we do implementation? How do we do, whether it's in the fourth quarter or otherwise, how do we do implementation? I'm gonna pick on something complicated, and then is it complicated? I don't know. But let's say it's complicated because I can't pick on two simple things. One thing I'm going to talk about is complicated. The other thing is simple. And get ready, guys. I'm going to ask you questions about both. Okay. So, and I don't know the answer either. So that's why I'm passing it over to you. So the first thing is for me knowing when to be innovative, when I have to invent something new, and when I've just got to, as Bruce said, what's the term you use, Bruce? Pedal to the
Pedal to the
metal,
metal.
something like that.
That's how I drive.
When you've got to be efficient, and not confuse the two. Guys, for this slightly more complicated way of talking about strategy, when in your careers or your lives, you can pick life, career, or business, when have you had to be innovative, and when have you had to be efficient, and have you made the mistake ever of confusing the two and picking the wrong option? And Angie, I come to you first.
Oh, thanks so much. Because he knows I'll talk about something no matter what. No, when I was listening to you, I think one of the differences to me is always a deadline. So when I have time, because as chaotic as my life might look from the outside in, I do have a system. There's a what do they say, a meaning to my chaos and whatever it is. But when there's a deadline, it's not a time for new ideas. It's a time for me to say, okay, let's buckle down and get done what we need to do. Now it's time to cut that baggage and get things done, which is another reason I like looking at Q4 as the end of a year. Because otherwise, for me, I just keep making up new ideas and never finish anything. So for me, it's like, okay, what did I do this year? Bruce's question, what's going to make me proud to say that at the end of the year, I did this year? And then look at it and say, in order to do that, I have to buckle down and be efficient, pedal to the metal. Now, January, February, when it's a new year and I have the base plan of what I want to do for the year, but that's when I'm innovative. I have time to come up with those ideas and put some type of structure to how I will implement them throughout the year. But that's why timelines and deadlines are so important to me. And I think to most creatives, we do our best work, some people say, when it's down to the wire. And I don't think that's necessarily true that it's our best work, but it's when you see the most out of us because we buckle down on our best work. Our best work is in the beginning, the innovative stages where we're coming up with the ideas and we're creating them. But what most people see out of creatives is the end product, which does usually happen down to the deadline, because otherwise we're still out there being creative, making it better, doing more, adding something to it, because we're always thinking in that creative way. So to me, that's the difference. And there's definitely been times when I've mixed it up. That's why I use a coach to help me, use several coaches actually, to help me set deadlines, because I don't trust myself to set the deadline and to stay on it. As a solopreneur, that's very hard, because I can definitely say, guess what, Angie, your deadline has been moved back a week. Congratulations. But I need somebody to say, it has not.
That is such an amazing answer. It's like a textbook answer. Have you been, I didn't give you this question. I didn't give you this question before. How did you? What's going on? Have you got another secret skill where you sort of know what I'm going to say and you prepared the answer in advance? That was really brilliant.
Oh,
And
that's
off
why
the
I
top of
like
your
you.
head.
Make me
Bruce
so
now
smart.
is going to be equally brilliant. Bruce, what's your answer to this conundrum about you was being innovative and when to be efficient when you're in the final quarter, the pressure's on? You know, when do you know when to be innovative, when to be innovative and when to be efficient? And have you confused both?
Don't be
What
inefficient.
Angie said. No. Oh God, yes. All right. So so part of the reason why this episode and Angie, I now know why you picked this topic because it's very clever. Um, you always you always want to be as much you want to be in the position to voluntarily make that choice. Do I just go heads down or can I pivot? And so if you wait until you're well within the fourth quarter, you have really no choice but to stay heads down. Because typically, if you're going to pivot, that needs to be a little more proactive. And oh my God, I probably, many times in my career that, I would say thanks to people that were nurturing and mentoring me, as everybody knows, I'm driven. My one word, by the way, is driven.
Oh, good.
Um,
Yeah,
That's a good
but
one.
yeah.
it can be
Comes
at
across.
yeah, it can be at the expense of a greater outcome. And so early in my career, I was always driven. I would go heads down. You give me a goal, come hell or high water, I would hit it. But after spending months fixated, it wasn't necessarily the right the right thing. There was, we talked a lot in many of the episodes that the reason why you reflect and re-examine things, no, I strongly recommend a weekly basis, and I'm not talking spending buku time, I'm talking 30 minutes, is so that you allow yourself to recalibrate because you might be going heads down. And I could think of one of the first assignments I had with Granger is I went heads down on the idea that they put me into a three-level distribution facility. And you never do distribution on three levels. And because people say you lose efficiency, because when you're moving product in a distribution center, it's good to go left, right. But if you got to go up and down stairs and elevators, you lose efficiency. Well, I was so fixated on it. And by the way, I had a brilliant individual. I'm just going to say Tom, if he's ever listening. I don't want to use his last name, but he said to me, Bruce, it doesn't matter if you walk left or right or up or down. It's a number of footsteps. And I thought, well, that's a new way to look at this. Don't become so fixated. However, what I had to do is, it was all about the operation efficiency. And I was like 3, 4 months into the gig, and I realized that the bigger opportunity where we were located, downtown Minneapolis, oh my God, it was a sales gold mine. So here I am, fixated on making this thing operational. And as soon as we pivoted, I would say probably midway into the second quarter, we grew that business by 89%. And
Wow.
so if I would have stayed fixated on the operations, how many items do we pick per minute? How many
Mm.
items can we package ship? And not, get out of that mindset to some degree and look at what might be a bigger opportunity, we would have
Yeah.
never grown that business by 89%. And, it led to one of the biggest promotions in my life. I had a great team around me, always have, slow kid, I always tell you that. But the reality is, that's why you review things on an ongoing basis so you have the luxury of pivoting. Otherwise, heads down, doesn't always
That
lead to
was
the best
perfect.
outcome.
Can I just point that
That's
out? The way
another
he said
great
that.
answer. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was great. Another great answer. Okay, I'm going to make things more complicated in future, guys. I'm going to speak German or Spanish and
Oh, Deutsch
see how
bitte.
you like that. See how you like that.
Ja,
Yeah,
ich kann Deutsch,
yeah.
das ist
You'll
besser.
be very knowledgeable when I speak in a foreign language. I better learn the foreign language first, though. But listen, we've only got 2 minutes to break. I've got another question. 1 minute to break. We're going, Jesse. just hold your horses because I've got
I
another
went on
question. Another question. So just a quick sort of recap, 30-second recap from each of you about the 80-20 rule. How does the 80-20 rule, as a way of thinking, a strategic way of
Well, why
thinking?
don't we do this since we have 1 minute? Why don't you define the 80-20 rule? Because that's something not everybody will know. And then when we come back, we can answer. How about that? I like
Okay,
that,
all right,
Nawtej.
all right, Angie. I'm definitely going to speak Japanese to you next time. Yeah, that'll teach you. So the 80-20 rule is there are lots of ways to think about it, but essentially, when 20% of your actions, activities, things that you do give you 80% of your results, and conversely, therefore, 80% of what you do may only give you 20% of your results. So thinking about that, we've got to have to go to break now because Jesse keeps typing in the text saying 1 minute to break, 1 minute to break. So we have to go. Okay, Jesse, we're going. Let's go to break.
Really trying to win that
You
dance
guys,
competition.
you guys have got the moves. I need to do some serious.
It's the beef with
what
You
is-
started it.
I didn't know I started it, to be honest. I really didn't until somebody pointed it out that I was moving to the music. Anyway, that Bruce,
80-20.
you're up first. That doesn't distract you from the question. Talk to me about how you use the 80-20 rule, if you do. If you do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of the key ingredients of a successful life. And so I'm going to talk about this because, as you guys know, earlier in my career, I sacrificed my family. And I have a great coach in my other half, Noelle, and you've all met her. And
Incredible.
one of the things is we have 6 kids, and they're scattered to the 4 winds in the country. And one of the things we struggle with is how do we spend quality time? Now, we could go visit each and every one of them. They can come and visit, and that's a lot of fun, by the way. I love that especially when they come here to see me. That's why we live on an island. We're hoping it attracts them. And by the way, that was Noelle. She said, "Well, let's move someplace a little interesting, and maybe they'll come and see you."
She was brilliant.
And so, but that takes a lot of time. And what's that impact? So one of the things she suggested is because part of family is all getting together. Well, with 6 children, spouses, and significant others, and 4 1/4 grandkids, how do you do that? And one of her suggestions is, well, let's create tradition. And one of the traditions we've done, and it's coming this month, so it's one of the things I'm proud of, but this will be our 3rd year, is we rent 2 huge party cabins up in the Wisconsin Dells, because it's probably as central as we can get with everybody. And it's a big water park, multiple water parks in this complex. So it's very kid friendly. But coincidentally, all of the water parks have bars.
Sounds perfect.
So you could be
Can I get
floating and
adopted,
drinking.
please?
And like I said, I got to be careful with this. But what we do is we come together, everybody. We have game night. We have, just a ton of fun and quality time. We're all together for at least 4 full days where we spend quality time. And actually, it's probably more like 3 days, but some come in a little early if they can. But it's quality time. We're all together. We're playing games. We're watching movies. We're in the water park. We're at the bar. We have a ton of time. And everybody, it just sets up the next year as we talk about build that momentum, because now we're talking about, well, when else can we all get together? And it just kind of propels, but it's quality time.
And that
It's
makes
only
sense, right?
20%
Yeah.
of all the time we spend, but
Yeah.
my God, it's an 80% return
return.
because, brothers and sisters see each other, spouses. I mean, it's a riot.
That's
You know, one of the
awesome.
things I love about this what we do together on this show is that we don't focus on one aspect of being alive. We don't focus on just
Mm-mm.
business. We don't just focus on career. We do life too, you know, because it's the reason we do careers and business. So that's a really beautiful story, Bruce. Thank you for that. Angie, what about you? How do you use
Well, I'm going to
oh,
be
did you?
quick so that you can answer this too. I love how he always gives
Yeah.
us questions and then he sneaks
Yeah,
out.
thank you, Angie.
No, I'm going to be real quick. So I am going to pick a business one for this because it's something I'm very weak at, something I'm really bad at. For me, it's I'm not doing it. So I know that if I spent more time with my online courses and I have an online marketing mastermind, I know if I spent more time pushing that and filling that, that would give me 80% of the results. My personality loves to work one-on-one. My personality loves to meet with people and have those review meetings and do one-on-one. And that is the opposite. That's 80% of my time for 20% of the return. So I struggle with that because what I want to do is not the right way to use the 80/20 rule. But that's why
Mhm.
Q4s and strategy reviews are good because I'm like, gosh darn it, Angie, it's okay. If you get this down, you'll have more time to do all the things you love as well. So that's one of the things I find with the 80/20. And now, Nawtej, it's your turn.
Yeah.
So I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite to you, Angie. I'm the opposite. So I'm a little bit too ruthless with my time. And I think I'm being great. And I think I'm doing, oh, wow, I'm doing the 8, 10, 90 rule. I'm doing 10, I'm focusing on the 10% of things that gives me 90% return. But I've realized that I'm, particularly as the world has become more complicated. Um, um, and I've been missing stuff, I think.
Mm.
So I've had to go the other way to you. I've had to do more slowing down and more focusing on the other stuff. And you know, in addition, I don't really like networking. I don't really do it. I like to have fun like I'm having with you guys, but I don't do business networking because I can't do small talk. I like
Mm.
fun. I like
It's
doing
just
this
so
sort of
funny
thing.
to me because you're
So
so fun and interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but only when I'm having fun. I don't want to do small talk about business. You know, I want to be authentic. I want to be me all the time. I don't want to be
Yeah.
me 80% of the time. So, but I've really learned. I don't compromise that because I can't. I don't have the ability to. But I've really learned. So what I do is I hang out with great people who don't mind networking, who love networking.
Yeah, and
So
that's
I've
a
got to say,
great thing. And networking such a we should have an episode on that alone because you know they push networking so
so
much and it's
hard.
solopreneur, you got to do it, business person, academic, owner, almost everybody has to network. Um, but they push it so hard that I don't think we organize it. And truly networking, you that 80/20 rule is killer. Bang for your buck. How much time are you spending versus what you're getting? Rate of return or rate of investment, however you want to look at it. That's a great place to apply that 80/20. Good point, Nawtej. Good thing we ask you questions.
Yeah, yeah, God, guys, feel free, and but you know, I've set myself up for failure now. I've got to learn a brand new language to ask you difficult questions in a different language because you're answering the questions too
That
well.
was a great point though, Angie. Spot on.
I think I made a lot of them. What was your favorite? I'm just
You
kidding.
did, you actually did make actually, Angie, I've got to say you made a lot of good points on this show. You
I'm
usually
kidding.
make a
I'm
lot of
not
good
like that.
points. Yeah, I think the
No.
standard deviation for this show puts you on a different level, different pedestal altogether this week,
It's just
Angie.
because I enjoy myself. I enjoy time spending listening, talking to myself a lot. I'm used to it. Just kidding. All right. So, what is everybody's final takeaway? Because we've got 3 minutes to ending. Let's go, Bruce. Let's start with you. What's your final takeaway
You
and
know,
advice?
often when we say it's the last stretch in the year, quarter four, you become fixated on your business, whatever. It's as much about your life as it is your business. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, Natesh, how about you?
I think my takeaway is that I came into this show really honestly not totally understanding what we were going to talk about tonight. I didn't really understand this whole final quarter thing, and I'm educated. Thankfully, in the last 1 hour, 50 minutes to 1 hour, you two have taught me what the fourth quarter means. So I thank you both very much.
That's awesome. I think for me, it is that when you get down to this Q4 time, it's time to really separate your must and your shoulds and get your must down, as Bruce said, pedal to the metal, get them done. But don't throw away your shoulds and your woulds. Plan those into your 2026. Understand, review your 2025. Why didn't you get to them? What can you do better in 2026 so that you get to your shoulds and your woulds too? And I just quickly went into that book Bruce and I were talking about, that one word that'll change your life. It was Jimmy Page, Dan Britton, and John Gordon. If anybody wants to look that up, that helped me a lot with resolution and being able to plan better. So yeah, I'd say figure out your must and your shoulds, drop your baggage and get it on. Right. So, all right. So we are close to done. Well, next week,
we're going to do a recap, but pretty much that's it for this episode of Serving Up Success. If you found that this kind of lit a fire under you, please share it with someone else. But again, we're going to thank you again for all the views, I mean, my gosh, we are so grateful. And we look forward to seeing you next week with another cocktail, only one for Bruce. See you then. Good night.
Good night. Cheers.
Bye-bye, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Thanks, Angie. Thanks, Bruce.